Hello everyone, my name is Ismail Uysal. I'm an associate professor at the electrical engineering department. Today I wanted to show you the way that I structure the online material for my courses. I use modules on Canvas, and I'm sure some of you are already familiar with this framework, but I find it to be a very nicely structured, very uniform way to deliver content. From all the student feedback that we have received over the years, the students really love this structured approach, and that week after week after week there is this material quiz, recording, so everything in one kind of easy to index, easy to find space. They really enjoy that, and it makes it a lot easier for them to keep up with the course material as well, because they know what times they need to accomplish what objective within the course itself. And if they want to go back and review a specific topic, they can easily do so with the descriptions that you provide in your modules. So the way I approach this is that, like I said, I use the modules tool for Canvas, which is automatically going to be on your course webpage. And when you click on modules, there are different ways to add material to this. But I thought that I could go over one of the weeks where I provided the course content as well as a couple of quizzes to go with it. So basically you just go ahead and click on add module. I don't want to turn this into a tutorial on modules, because I'm sure there are a lot of tutorials out there that do a much better job than what I'm about to do in terms of trying to show you how creating a module works. I just want to show you the way I structure my own modules today. But basically you go ahead and add a module. I tend to do these modules in a week by week basis. So when the semester ends, they're going to have 13, 14, let's say, weeks of material that they can go back and reference whenever they want. And then you basically provide a name for your module. Let's call it, week 14, SOS steer video module, for example, and I'm going to say add module. And when you do that, you can see that this module is created, and from here you can go ahead and click the plus sign, pretty intuitive, and then add some content pages. So I want to go through these content pages quickly, and just to show you how it creates this nice uniform structure for the students to go through. And to do that, I'm going to actually refer back to one of my earlier modules. This doesn't have all the modules for this specific course, but I kept a couple of them to give you an idea on how this actually works. So for instance, this is from week 11. You can see that on, that week's topic was deep autoencoders and variational autoencoders. These are topics in deep machine learning theory. Maybe some of you have heard about them. I'm sure a lot of you have not. So basically, the name of the topic is right there in the title, and within that module, I include several components. So the ones that I include are the pages and the quizzes. So the pages, the way it works is you go ahead and click the plus sign, and here there are a couple of things you could add. I've never really used discussion as part of the module before, but you can, if your course relies on this class discussions, you can easily add them to your module as well, so that they know, what discussion is relevant to what part of the course. I generally use quizzes, files, and pages, mostly pages, and I'm going to show you how this works. So you basically go ahead and click and add a new page, and you can call it anything you want. For example, if you would like to provide the lecture notes in this particular page, let's go ahead and say lecture notes and say add item. Once this item is added here, you go ahead and click on it, and then here you basically say edit, and then you type in whatever you would like to appear on this page when they click on the link. Dear class, you can find my lecture notes here, and then you can just go ahead and upload your PDF lecture notes or PowerPoint slides, whichever medium you're using. I'm going to go ahead and say cancel, just to show you quickly how a standard page for me looks like. Let me go ahead and let me see if I can go back here like this. go back. There you go. So for example, for this particular week, you can see week 11 lecture notes. If you click on this, dear class, obviously there's some remarks here because part of this course had to be converted online, as I'm sure all of you have gone through due to this recent situation with the virus. By the way, I do hope you are all doing well and safe and keeping safe and healthy. But basically, I very briefly talk about what this, what the topics of this week cover. And then I upload my PowerPoint slides. I try to split them into two parts. So in one part, they have these timely announcements. There's a quiz, there's an exam, there's an assignment. Make sure you do this, make sure you do that kind of thing. And I try to keep my lecture notes that have the substantive material of the course, the actual content, separate so that they can, if they want to download and keep it for reference in the future, they don't have to go through 10 slides of what they need to do for the homework assignment, and they can just have access to the relevant course material. And basically, here I provide the lecture notes in PDF format. They click and download. And in other pages, for example, in the next page, I actually upload the course video. To do that, I use Panopto. This is the first time I'm actually using Screencast-O-Matic, I guess that's what it's called. Because Panopto is just a service provided by the university, as I'm sure some of you are familiar with. So I use Panopto to record my lectures, and I split my lecture into 3 parts. One of the to-do things on my list for the next semester is to actually split it into many more parts. So instead of having 3 parts of 40-45 minutes each, maybe have 10 parts that are 10-15 minutes each, because I know that the student concentration really goes down as time goes on when they watch these lectures. This is kind of a proven fact, discussed very widely in the literature and also in a lot of these ATLE events and workshops. So one of my to-do things in fall is to split this up into even smaller components and have these single 1-question quizzes after each component to make sure that they're keeping up with the material. I already do that now, but these are quizzes that are based on the previous 40-45 minutes of lecture recordings instead of 5-10 minutes, which kind of I think is something that could be improved. So again, like I said, I want to have it in 3 parts. The first part is for the announcements only. These are time relevant announcements. A quiz is coming up, make sure you submit this assignment, etc. Whereas in the parts 2 and 3, let me try to go back to the module page again. Parts 2 and 3, I try to, let's go ahead and click on this one, for example. I try to provide the substantive portion, the actual course content, and whatever is on the lecture notes, the recording for those parts, so that when they want to go back and reference these sections, they can do that without having to go through the first 15-20 minutes of, say, announcements. By the way, Panopto allows you to keep these links open to all USF personnel and actually open to everybody. But I generally leave it open to all USF persons, and these links stay there forever. So even when the students lose access to the course, as long as they keep the link, they can always go back and watch the lectures as long as they're still a USF student, obviously. By splitting these recordings into these multiple components, this allows them to also to easily reference these course contents in the future. So I have these pages to post the lecture notes and the lecture videos, and I use Panopto to record the lecture videos. But what I want to show you today is mostly about the structure and not how you record these lecture recordings, because like I said, I'm sure there are many tutorials out there that can do a much better job than I do. The way I structure this is I add these components. I have the lecture notes page. I have the announcements. I have the, different parts of the course content, lecture recordings. And what I also do is I add a quiz after each relevant portion. And the way that this works is, again, you click the plus sign, and here you can do anything. You can add any component of your Canvas course here. If you have created a quiz, for example, on this content, just click quiz, and some of these quizzes pop up here. This is already added, so there you go. So this is quiz 4, for example. This is on week 11. So you can just click it and say add item. Obviously, there's a repetition of it now. So I'm going to just go ahead and remove this. But basically, you can add any of your course content that is already uploaded on your Canvas page very easily into your modules to create this nice structure for your students. So this quiz 4 is a quiz of 3-4 questions that is directly relevant. I should probably keep drag it below here, and I'll show you how I create that structure in just a minute. But basically, as soon as they watch the first content video, then they have to take a quiz that is related to that course content. And I try to keep these quizzes light. I don't intend for these quizzes to be their major assessment. This is more like to make sure that they follow up with the material, they pay attention even a little bit to what's going on the screen, so that they can take these quizzes and hopefully answer the questions correctly. After each part, I have a specific quiz. And the other thing that I'd like to talk about is, like again, in the near future for fall, I would, instead of having parts 2 and 3, I would want to have parts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, much shorter lectures, much shorter quizzes, so that it's, it keeps them on track and basically try to keep their concentration and attention at a level that's that ensures that they're learning the course content. So the best part that I like about the modules is the fact that you can set requirements, and that creates that structure, that flow that students really like, because they see it week after week after week, and it makes it easier to follow. So the way you do this is you click on this settings button here, and then you click edit. When you click edit, you can add module settings. So now I use 2 settings that I found to be very effective and got some good feedback from the students. The first one is the prerequisite. If you click a prerequisite, it means that before they watch, let's say week 10's recording, they may not be able to access week 12. So they need to learn whatever they had to learn in the previous week to be able to take the next week's course content, for example. So you can add prerequisites to make sure that they're on track and they can't just skip modules. And the other thing I'd like to add is the requirements. So this way, what you can do is you can add requirements to your module, and you can ask the students to go through these requirements in sequential order. For example, the first one is the lecture notes, and I would like them to view the item. The second one is the announcements, and I would like them to view the item. And then the third part is the second part of the course content. I would like them to view the item, but then they have to take a quiz and they have to actually submit the assignment. After the quiz, they have to watch part 3, and after watching part 3, they have to take quiz 4 part 2, and they have to submit the assignment. So they have to go through these one by one. You can even say them, change them to say mark as done, which means that not just clicking the link works. They also have to confirm that they have seen the video. There is no way to really verify this other than you going back into your Panopto analytics and see what they did, but they at least have to actively click that they completed the module, or part of the module, before they can move on to the quizzes, and they submit the assignments and they move on. And once you click update module, obviously it's going to ask me some questions about that. You can see that there is a prerequisite for this module. They have to watch these, download the lecture notes, watch the lecture recordings, submit the assignments, and all the deadlines will be shown right here along with that. And this structure, you can just preserve the same structure between each week's lecture recordings. I removed some of the quizzes and some of the parts from these modules, but basically I try to stick to the same kind of structure, week after week, and I found out that the students really enjoy this uniform flow of material, and it makes it easy for them to stay up to date. Once the quizzes are done, you can go ahead and remove the requirements, or you can just remove the quizzes from your modules. And let's go ahead and click this one too. You can remove these from your module, so that way the only thing that's left for them would be just the course content, and no longer the assignments with the deadlines that are passed to you. All right, so Again, I love modules. I love using modules. I learned about them first when I took this Canvas online tutorial workshop at USF, and I've been using it ever since. And it really helps you structure an online course. So I hope this is useful for you guys. Thank you for listening to this. And again, please stay safe and healthy, and hope to talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.